This is CBC.
Here is the pride and joy of the Calgary Stampede, the Young Canadians, with a hit from the musical comedy Big Guy.
It's great to be back in Calgary, because it's my hometown, where everybody you see is glad you're back around. When you're away, you count the days for weeks without end. Don't want to roam, just want to home back with my good friends. The things you miss back in Calgary, whenever you're away, is all the sunshine in the smiles of folks you meet each day. But most of all, the things you miss away from Calgary is that good old-fashioned Western hospitality. It's great to be back in Calgary, because it's my hometown, where everybody you see is glad you're back around. When you're away, you count the days for weeks without end. Don't want to roam, just want to home back with my good friends. Back with my good friends. The things you miss back in Calgary, whenever you're away, is all the sunshine in the smiles of folks you meet each day. But most of all, the things you miss away from Calgary is that pretty stampede city with the mountains above and the friends that I love. That good old-fashioned Western hospitality.
With the score, Montreal 7, Edmonton 3. Break-up halftime continues in a moment.
This moment is devoted to all the grandmas in the world. The women with more love than you can hold in your arms at one time. And to the little people who make the regal title of Grandma all possible. If you're a grandma with your children just across town, you're lucky. But if your special friend is across the country, you're still only half a day away when you fly the Boeing 747. Go. Get together sometime soon. There's a reception committee that believes you're the most important passenger on that plane. Boeing. Getting people together.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Calgary Stampede Parade.
It's the start of the big Stampede Parade. The start of the big parade. The trumpets are blowing, the saxophones blowing, the fire is raining away. The horses are prancing, the banners are full on a beautiful, glorious day. The start of the Calgary Stampede, the start of the big parade. Play, my, band, singing, waving his hand, turning the pendulum to bells. Riding, the Calvins are riding, the start of the big rodeo. Start of the rodeo, India's proudly parading.
we have a look at the Calgary Stampede Parade, ladies and gentlemen, leading the parade, the colorful majorettes and the versatile Stampede Band, once again over 100 in number. The cheerleaders are from Calgary's high schools, who are quite used to this kind of weather when they're backing up the cheering section for the high school football. The Indians are from the neighboring Sarcee, Blackfoot, and Stoney tribes. There's Miss Calgary Stampeder, Wendy Miles, who won the title as 1975 Miss Grey Cup. From the Forest Lawn area of Calgary, horsemen of the Eastgate Riding Club. The Calgary Stampede is the world's largest rodeo. Winston Bruce is now standing by with his Stampede crew, and they have set up a small arena in our south end zone, where in a moment you'll see a display of the Cowboys' skill as Mel Highland mounts up to ride Devil's Cat, one of the Stampede string of championship bucking stock. As soon as you're ready, Winston, let him go. Mel Highland is 27 years old. He rides with the Canadian Rodeo Cowboys Association. He was the CRCA champion saddle bronc rider in 1967 and 1962. He was world champion saddle bronc rider in 1972 and bareback champ in 1975. Mel Highland, ladies and gentlemen, aboard Devil's Cat. If you think the bucket seats in your Volkswagen were cold coming to the game this afternoon, imagine what that saddle feels like. Calgary's downtown festivities are western and colorful every year, but particularly during this Grey Cup week, when neither cold nor sleet nor black of night has kept these couriers of good cheer from their appointed duties to furnish visitors with a silo full of country music, flapjack flippin', and western culture. Hey, let's square dance. Winston Bruce once again has another rider as we look back to the south end. The bucking shoots once again, and this time it's Melvin Coleman coming out on a horse named Trail Smoke. Melvin is 19 years old, from Pearson, Saskatchewan. He was the Canadian Rodeo Cowboy Association champion saddle bronc rider in Canada for 1974, Rookie of the Year as well, and he was the champion saddle bronc rider in Canada this year of 1975. He's allowed a little bit of help in the chutes, but once he's clear of that chute gate, it's all up to him. No one can help him. It's an 8-second ride. He's now adjusting the Manila 6-foot-long rein, and he's out. Ladies and gentlemen, Melvin Coleman aboard Trail Smoke. The longest 8 seconds of his life, you can bet. Even a wave of the hat for you, ladies and gentlemen. How about a hand for Melvin Coleman?
What a ride. Now to review the first half of play, our experts Frank Rigney and Mike Wadsworth.
Mike, were you a little surprised how well the Montreal Alouette defense handled the Russian attack of Edmonton?
I was, Frank. I think one of the big reasons is Junior Ayew, despite whatever injury there is to his knee, is playing very well. But I think the biggest thing is as a result of Ayew being there and Larry Watkins being moved over to the tackle spot to try to protect against him, Glenn Weir's had an outstanding first half against Joe Warback. We've seen Weir and Ayew put great pressure. But finally in the first quarter, the Montreal Alouettes in this defensive struggle had that first big play to Joe Petty for 28 yards.
That was the biggest play of the first half, Mike.
Indeed, and it set up the second of Don Sweet's 2 field goals in that first half of play. This one, of course, coming from 47 yards. So that was the margin of difference going into the second quarter.
When we talked about the ground game of the Edmonton Eskimos being so limited, it was only 22 yards. This was the biggest offensive play that the Edmonton Eskimos had, or it could have been. But John Kanahosky dropped this football. I thought it was a perfect throw by Tom Wilkinson, and the young receiver from Edmonton drops it at about the 3-yard line after having clearly beaten Proudfoot for what should have been an Edmonton score if he could have held on to the football.
It was an excellent call, too, because they had thrown short to him so much earlier. But the Montreal Alouettes eventually in that end of the second quarter are starting to threaten, but Larry Highbaugh, with 2.5 minutes remaining, comes up with this interception, which appeared to possibly set the stage for an Eskimo comeback in this first half of play. 2 big losses, however, by Wilkinson, caused by Gordy Judges, wiped that out. And then, of course, the other big highlight of the first half was a fine 37-yard punt return by Johnny Rogers. The Eskimos have done an outstanding job, Frank, as you pointed out, containing Rogers in this first half of play, but this punt return seemed to set the stage for another possible Alouette score.
Well, you know, Mike, from the Montreal Alouette point of view offensively, I thought the biggest thing they did and the most successful thing they did was throw to those backs coming out of the backfield, particularly Smith, number 36. You see him here catching his 5th reception of that first half, and Jones also hit Farragelli. Jones completed only 9 throws in the first half, and about 7 of them were to backs coming out of that backfield. That is obviously something the Edmonton Eskimos are going to have to contain in the second half.
I think the Eskimos will want to get a better rush from their front 4, because if they do that, the Alouettes will be forced to keep their backs in to assist in the blocking, as they did against Ottawa, and that could be the best way of trying to prevent those backs swinging out.
It's putting an awful lot of pressure on the linebackers of the Edmonton Eskimos. They're dropping out of there, and those backs are having a lot of success. But the score right now is the Montreal Alouettes 7, the Edmonton Eskimos 3. Now let's return to our halftime show.
Okay, remember that your cue will be when everyone on the field rushes towards the center at the end of this next number. Stand by. 1,000 Calgarians salute Canada with Betty Baker's lovely Land of Promise.
Of Canada we sing with pride, our homeland strong and free. The crown of North America, a gem for all to see. A land of glorious heritage, whose sons and daughters sing with pride and love of Canada. Now let our voices ring. O land of wondrous Canada, of peace and harmony, God keep this land of Canada forever strong and free. By land and sea our fathers came to bind their destinies, to tame the forest, till the soil and fish the teeming sea. They carved their homes from wilderness and built a city strong, and made this country sing with pride. Now shout it loud and long, loud and long. Land of promise, land of hope, of peace and harmony. God keep this land of Canada
Our halftime show was written and directed by Randy Avery. Choreography by Margot McDermott. Musical arrangements by Roy Smith. Produced by the volunteers and staff of the Calgary Exhibition and Stampede.
A great halftime show. And our thanks to Randy Avery, choreographer Margaret McDermott, music by Roy Smith, production by the volunteers and staff of the Calgary Exhibition and Stampede. The score is Montreal 7, Edmonton 3. The second half kickoff of the 1975 Grey Cup follows in a moment.
Canada, what do you want in a small car?
Value, variety, economy,
And
kicks.
there's 6 little Chevys for 76 and a brand new kind of North American car, the little Chevy Chevette.
6 little Chevys for 76 with value, variety, economy, and kicks.
See your Chevy dealer today.
The 76 Chevrolet Impala. Multiply its EPA highway rating by its gas tank capacity, and one tank full of gas gives a hypothetical highway driving range equal to the distance between, say, Swift Current, Saskatchewan and Banff, or Quebec City and Fredericton, New Brunswick. Based on this EPA highway figure, it could theoretically travel a distance equal to the Trans-Canada Highway from Vancouver to Halifax on less than 9 tanks of gas. Impala for 76.
Hello, everybody. I'm Pat Marsden, and with me is Mike Wadsworth. We started in July, and we're going to wrap it all up today because this is the final game of the 1975 season, and it's been a real good first half, Mike. A good, tough defensive half, as most people anticipated. But now the question is, are they going to open up in the final 30 minutes?
Well, I think they're going to have to, Pat. As you pointed out, it's been a long season, so it comes down to this last 30 minutes. I think that the Eskimos, as we pointed out during the course of our highlights, are going to want to come with a greater pass rush to try to prevent the passing of Jimmy Jones. And if they can thwart the Montreal attack, get some field position, they've got to establish that running game, but primarily go to George McGowan. You don't have a weapon like McGowan and not go to him more often than they have in this first half of play.
Well, it's only 7-3, and everybody, of course, remembers last week's classic Western Conference final when the Edmonton Eskimos, who were trailing, came on with 22 points in the fourth quarter. We've got excellent field conditions, so don't be at all surprised if the points do come in this second half. It was like two boxers feeling each other out. They were trying to just find out what the other one was doing defensively. And, Mike, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we had some major scoring fairly early in the third quarter, and we're going to have to wait and see exactly what we do have. Boy, what a tremendous halftime show that was. Everybody was extremely jubilant, and an air of nationalism just swept through this stadium with 33,000 people in the stands and another 1,000 on the field. And we know that wherever you're watching from coast to coast in our land, that you must have enjoyed it because it was a great show to see. We're just awaiting the return of both these clubs, the Montreal Alouettes, who went into Ottawa last week and were very heavily underdogs in that game, put it all together just as they had done in the semifinal to knock off Hamilton, played extremely well last week, earned the right to the Grey Cup game, and are playing very well at this point. And the Edmonton Eskimos, well, they were the best team in Canada over the course of the year.
I don't think anybody can dispute that, Pat, and you know they could so easily have led at the halftime had John Konahosky been able to hold on to that pass. As Frank and I discussed during our highlights, they've been throwing the combination pattern short to Konahosky in behind the clearing patterns of George McGowan. Finally, Tom Wilkinson elected to go for that deep seam pattern to Konahosky. It worked because he was open. The ball was well delivered. But, of course, those things will happen, as you know, from covering these games for so many years. You could just come up with that one drive play that'll be remembered for a long time.
Well, there's a look at what happened in the first 30 minutes of this ball game, and you can see Montreal did have a decided edge because of the passing attack that Jimmy Jones was able to generate, 108 yards, and he did find those swing men and also Peter Della Riva for a good gain on one particular occasion. But listen, with a 7-3 score, you've got to know that this is going to be tight right down to the wire, and that's we're so pleased to be doing the final 30 minutes of this 1975 season. 10-7 were the first downs in favor of the Alouettes, and this is their kind of ball game. They don't do anything particularly fancy. They just keep coming, coming, and coming.
And I was going to point out, Pat, if I'm not mistaken, the Eskimos had won the toss and had the initial election for the first half, so it's now the Alouettes' election. We'll see whether or not they elect to have the win for that fourth quarter.
Well, let's go down and see what's new with Don Chevrier. Chef?
Just want to say hello to Ron Goodman of CFL Properties, Pat. He's just back from hospital after open heart surgery, and we wish him the very best now that he's back home once again. Pat?
Well, thank you, Chevy. And referee Bill Fry has just called the captains to the center of the field because now, as Mike pointed out, it is Montreal's election, whether they want the ball or whether, in fact, they will want the advantage of the wind in the fourth quarter. They're talking it over right now. That decision will be forthcoming. And in case you missed the first 30 minutes of this ball game, it was 7 points for Don Sweet on 2 field goals and a single point, and a 40-yard field goal by Dave Cutler. And that's the way it stands, 7-3 in favor of the Montreal Alouettes. The Edmonton Eskimos will be receiving the ball to start the third quarter. The Montreal Alouette defensive unit, which did such a good job, huddling on the far side, and now they are set to go. And though it is an excellent day for football in Calgary, it's not Fort Lauderdale.
Well, Coach Marv Levy obviously has great faith in his defense, because in this third quarter, with the score being so tight, he's elected to give the Eskimos both the wind and the ball. That, of course, being because he wants that win factor in the fourth quarter.
Well, it worked very effectively for Coach Ray Yock. So really, last week in that Western Conference final, he made the same decision. And now as we look, it is Larry Highbaugh, number 13 at the top of your screen, and number 22, Fink, to return this kickoff from Sweet, who will kick it away from the 45-yard line. 33,000 people know that all the action is going to come in the final 30 minutes. Charlie Turner stands on the sideline. He will be there when the Alouettes prepare to put the ball into play from scrimmage. And the pressure will be on the Montreal defensive unit, and we'll talk about them after we see what happens with the kickoff in the second half.
Well, we saw when they kicked off initially the great coverage they gave to it at the top of the first quarter. We'll see if they can equal that kind of coverage here.
Let's see now if Sweet elects to go deep, because the speedsters are there in Highbaugh and Fink. He squibs it down. Roy Bell has it at the 30. And again, good coverage by that Montreal Alouette defensive unit, as Tony Proudfoot was there to wrap him up at the 36-yard line, and that's where the Edmonton Eskimo offensive unit will take over. Only a 35-yard kickoff, but even more important, just a 6-yard return. And in at quarterback to start this third quarter of play, Bruce Lemmerman, as he came on in relief a week ago in the Western Final. Let's see if Lemmerman can get the Edmonton Eskimo offense moving. Pass is good to the 47-yard line to McGowan. The stop made by Tony Proudfoot, 68 of the Alouettes, and the pickup will be about 8 yards.
Well, we'd suggested that he's their top receiver and they may want to go to him more often. That's who they went to right away. They have to afford so much room to George McGowan because he's such an outstanding receiver. He just did that little bend out to the sideline and had a good advantage on Dickie Harris to set up this 2nd and 1.
Second down. Bruce Lemmerman, number 10, is the quarterback. It's Harrell, 19, and Roy Bell, 14, in the I formation. And the give is to Harrell, who fights his way close for a first down, dropped the ball. Montreal recovered. The first big break of the third quarter. The Montreal Alouettes recover the fumble by Roy Harrell.
Well, we saw these same Montreal Alouettes put up a great goal line stand against the Ottawa Rough Riders. And it was the left side of their defensive line that was primarily responsible for that big stop a week ago. Again, it was that left side that hit the running back for the Eskimos, immediately got him off balance and eventually caused that fumble.
Gene Gaines with the crunching tackle that knocked the ball out of the hands of Calvin Harrell. First down, Montreal at the Edmonton 48. Larry Smith in the reverse to Johnny Rogers. Rogers all the way down to the Edmonton 32-yard line. The stop was made by Larry Highbaugh.
Well, Larry Smith has been known to carry the ball, but he's also worked this reverse with Johnny Rogers. But watch number 30, Dale Potter, right there, who had gotten penetration from his linebacking position. But Rogers, just through the sheer strength of his running ability, got him way to the outside and cut it back to the middle for a big gain.
Ball at the 32, and this is Faragelli. Into the 26-yard line. The stop was made by the middle linebacker, Dan Kepley. And let's go downstairs to Don Chevrier.
All right, here's Dave Braggins, and I know you'd love to be in there, but you got a little problem with your jaw right now.
Yes, it's kind of hard to talk, and it's kind of hard to sit on the sideline.
You know what? I don't sound much better. It's so cold out here, I can't talk either, but the Alouettes are moving, Dave.
Yeah, I think they're doing real well.
Listen, good luck with that injury of yours, and hope you get some Christmas turkey at least. Months from now. Dave Braggins.
2nd and 4, and this is Faragelli. Has the first down. all the way into the 10-yard line, and again, Kepley, 42, made the stop, but not before the big rambler from Rutgers University, Faragelli, picks up the first down.
Well, it appeared that they're just blocking man-on-man here with Larry Smith once again being the lead block, getting Dale Potter caught to the inside, and Faragelli, for a big man, shows good speed to the outside to pick up that gain.
The ball is just outside the Edmonton 10-yard line. First down, Montreal. Jones will keep it himself and gets into about the 7 for a pickup of 3. Dick Dupuis did a good job of turning the play in. It was an option really for Jones, and he decided to keep it. Actually, the pickup is closer to 4, so make it second down, 6 yards to go, Montreal, and they can get the first down without scoring the major.
They only had one receiver deep, that being Joe Petty in the end zone. Delariva and Smith were there to try to effect interference for Jones, and as a result, the secondary could move right up and string it out as you described, Pat, so as to limit the gain.
Second down, 6 yards to go. The ball at the Edmonton 6.5. Johnny Rogers. Rogers into about the 3. The stop was made by Tom Laputka, 61. The Alouettes will be short of the first down and will really have a decision to make. Do they go for it or do they go for the field goal? It is 7-3 in favor of the Owls with just 4 minutes left, or rather 4 minutes gone in this third quarter, and they're going to go.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a tough call by Coach Marv Levy. You just hate to get down this far and come away dry if they are unsuccessful in their third down gamble.
It is 3rd and 3.5 yards to go, Montreal. Johnny Rogers dropped the ball, has it again, does not have the first down. Dale Potter knocked him out of bounds.
Well, you see that Johnny Rogers on this play is very fortunate to even be able to hold on to possession because he let it go right there. But that Edmonton defense, which has been doing a good job reacting to the outside, forces them out well short.
The score is Montreal 7, Edmonton 3. The 1975 Grey Cup continues in a moment.
What to do with my money? So I get advice. Brother-in-law advice, next-door neighbor advice. But I found a way to get really expert advice. My investors man and I have organized a way to make my money work for me.
We can find a way.
Because of the wide and comprehensive variety of financial planning services offered by your investors man.
We can find a way to get your future going today. That investor.
When someone wants a building built, he comes to me. When I decided to build a secure financial future, I turned to my investors man. He found a way that I could set some money aside for retirement and pay less taxes right now.
We can find a way.
Because of the wide and comprehensive variety of financial planning services offered by your investors man.
We can find a way to get your future going today. That investor.
Alouette head coach Marv Levy gambled and lost, but as a result of the fact that the Alouettes did not score the major, they have turned the ball over to the Eskimos, who are in terrible field position at their own 2.5-yard line, and of course they've got to get something going in this third quarter with the win.
Which was obviously a big factor in Marv Levy's decision to go, because if they were short, of course, they felt they'd have them hemmed in. We'll see whether the Eskimos can get their running attack, which has been very successful over the course of the season, established here. They like to run between the tackles.
Bruce Lemmerman at quarterback in relief of Tom Wilkinson. And he's going to put it up in the air. No good. Intended for McGowan up at the 40-yard line. Lewis Cook and Phil Price over to provide the defensive coverage.
Well, they've been throwing George McGowan on those shorter patterns, but we see him do just a little out and up now, and Lewis Cook actually has the advantage on him, but the ball is overthrown.
So it'll be 2nd and 10. Edmonton, the ball just inside their 3-yard line. Montreal leads it 7-3. We've got 10 minutes left to play in the third quarter.
Pat, it's now 19 below Celsius here at McMahon Stadium, and it's dropping.
And it feels every bit that cold, Chad. Roy Bell on the draw. Good hit by Wally Bono. Carl Cronell had shut it off, and Bono came in with a good jarring tackle to down the ball carrier, Roy Bell, just outside the 5-yard line. So Gary Lefebvre will be punting.
Well, you try to get those draws as successful plays to try to take some of the heat off the quarterbacks that the front four of the Alouettes have been putting on. But that linebacking core for the Alouettes, which we suggested initially, would be very important in this game, playing very well as they had absolutely corralled Bell and didn't allow him any opportunity to pick a hole.
Lefebvre will stand about 10 yards deep in the Edmonton end zone to kick to Johnny Rogers and Dickie Harris. Good high twisting spiral. Rogers at the 53-yard line. He drops the ball. Edmonton recovers at their 39. A 47-yard punt, a 15-yard return, and then the fumble. Tyrone Walls recovering for the Eskimos.
Well, it appeared there was just a crack for Rogers to get through initially, but there it was. Contact was made with him. I couldn't identify the jersey, but obviously the Edmonton Eskimos pick up the second turnover of this third quarter. They had caused their own initially at the top, but now they're getting into position at their own 40 to move in.
First down, Eskimos just inside their 40-yard line. Lemmerman for McGowan, no good. Let's go down to Bill Stevenson.
I got Sam Bretz, the injured linebacker of the Eskimos, with me. Sam, the turnover, and then first of all, that defensive stand at the goal line must really give a club a lot of lift.
Well, it's got to, and I think that's the thing that we need right now is to get a little momentum on our side. This is a very big quarter in the game. Going with the win, we need to score some points here.
Do you think that Montreal has held a little bit of the play?
Yeah, I think they've played a pretty good game. They managed to score some points when they had to win the first quarter. They came back, controlled the ball in the second quarter. And I think that's what you're going to see here, trying to score and control the ball.
Well, we'll see what happens from here on in. Thank you, Sam Bretz.
Thank you, Bill.
The pass is complete at the 53-yard line. Dickie Harris making a big hit on George McGowan. But what a catch by McGowan.
George McGowan just does a little curl in. You see Dickie Harris staying right with him, giving good effective coverage, but the ball is well thrown. McGowan does an excellent job of holding on this time.
Right on the money. Bruce Lemmerman to George McGowan. First down, Eskimos. And McGowan has had a big day already with 6 receptions. The ball is at the Eskimo 54-yard line. Calvin Harrell. He picks up about 3 or 4. The stop was made by Mike Widger, who just pinched right in the middle.
It appears also that Carl Cronell in the middle does an excellent job as Bob Howes, the center number 53, tries to block out on him. It's just straight man-on-man for blocking. Howes makes good contact there. Cronell fights his way back into the play and makes the tackle right there.
The pickup is about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7, Edmonton. The ball at the Montreal 53-yard line. 7 minutes, 10 seconds left to play in the third quarter. For McGowan, and it's picked off by Lewis Cook at the 45-yard line. Montreal ball. Cook simply outfought McGowan for the catch. The score is Montreal 7, Edmonton 3. The 1975 Grey Cup continues in a moment.
When the neighbors come over, the beer that comes out is Labatt's 50, Canada's favorite ale.
What kind is it?
This is an Acer Platinite.
Oh, what? It's a maple. Hi, you want a beer? Thanks.
You like 50, and it's just that simple. You don't have to explain it. You just say it. 50. You can't say beer any better.
All you have to say is 50. You can't say beer any better.
7-3, Montreal leads it. We've got 6 minutes, 58 seconds left to play in the third quarter, and again, defense is doing a job.
Well, here's Lewis Cook causing yet another turnover in this third quarter. He just out-wrestled George McGowan for that ball.
It is on the Montreal 46. First down, and this is Faragelli. Cut down by Laputka just as he crossed the line of scrimmage. His forward point will probably be a yard a yard and a half maybe.
You know, Pat, Bill Stevenson interviewed Dave Braggins, who was the Eastern nominee for the outstanding offensive lineman. A lot of people wondered whether or not that would have hurt the Alouette offensive output. But Frank Pomerico, the right guard, number 61, has been doing an excellent job. He's working against Dave Fennell. Most Edmonton observers consider him the best man in their front four, and yet he hasn't been putting big pressure on.
The screen to Faragelli. Just a great job by McLaren, who smelled out the screen and actually made the tackle right at the line of scrimmage. And Tom Wilkinson continues to warm up on the sidelines. Obviously, if Lemmerman can't get things going, Wilkie, who quarterbacked the Edmonton club in the first half, will be back in there. But the Alouettes will be punting on 3rd and 8. And that means Sonny Wade will be kicking into the wind to Larry Highbaugh and to Fink, who stand at the 25. Mike Fink, number 22. The injured player is Tom Laputka, who's being helped off the field. Looks to be favoring his right leg. Hopefully it's just a cramp, and of course on a cold day like this, all hits hurt, I'm sure. 6 minutes and 5 seconds left to play in the third quarter. The Alouettes with Sonny Wade will be punting. Turnovers, the big part of this third quarter.
And yet neither one of the offensive clubs, when they've had the benefit of that turnover, have really been able to do anything with it.
Sonny Wade stands at his own 35. Fink on the dead run at his own 35 is nailed immediately by Tony Proudfoot. There are no flags down, although the crowd obviously felt there should have been one.
And back upfield, it's Sonny Wade and Dale Potter going at it after the ball was punted away. The two of them having a little contact, but I didn't see any flag on that one either.
Well, we'll look at it again.
We'll see if we can get Dale Potter coming in here. You see initially with Faragelli, Wade then upsets Potter, and they eventually go at it right there. Sonny Wade for a quarterback is looking a little bit more like Frank Wigney used to.
Well, Pat and Mike, we've just been over at the bench. The first player shaken up, Laputka. It is a slightly twisted ankle, so he should be all right. They're working on it now.
The toss goes to Calvin Harrell. Good job by the middle linebacker, Carl Cronell, to stop him just about at the line of scrimmage, which was the 35. 5 minutes and 25 seconds left to play in the third quarter. 7-3. Montreal leads it. All the scoring by the field goal kickers. Don Sweet with 2 successful ones, and then one that went for a single point, and Dave Cutler. The pickup was a couple of yards. The ball is spotted right at the 37-yard line. 2nd and 8, Eskimos. They have the benefit of this 15-mile-an-hour wind in this third quarter. Good to McGowan at the 50. That's a first down. Stop was made by Dickie Harris, but a big first down. Lemmerman to McGowan.
Well, it seems that they're working against Dickie Harris, but actually you couldn't have better defensive coverage. Take a look at it here. McGowan just curling back to that inside. Harris is right on him. The ball is so well thrown, however, and McGowan's certain with the catch. But all of it, of course, is being stretched out, Pat, because of a penalty.
Roughing was the call, and as a result of that penalty, the Eskimos will have excellent field position. First down at the Montreal 45. Listen to this crowd. Lemmerman for Lang. He's got it at the 32, first down. Lewis Cook providing the defensive coverage, but it's a big 13-yard pickup.
Take another look at Stu Lang and this reception. Lewis Cook is affording him a little room to that outside. As you see there, he was well open on the play. Cook's got great speed. He generally tries to lay back, afford the receiver a little room, and then move into the ball. But Lemmerman got a good hard throw into Stu Lang, and there was no chance for Cook to come back to it.
Stu Lang, of course, is the stepson of hockey broadcaster Foster Hewitt, who must be very pleased at that last play. Roy Bell gets to the 30-yard line. No further. Mike Fanucci, the defensive end, just cut him down. So the pickup will be a couple. It'll be 2nd and 8, Eskimos. This, of course, an extremely critical quarter for Edmonton, moving with the benefit of this 15-mile-an-hour wind. They've got 3 minutes and 48 seconds left to play in this quarter. It is Montreal 7, Edmonton 3, all of the scoring in the first half. Bruce Lemmerman, number 10 at quarterback. Quickly to McGowan. He's got it for a first down at the 18-yard line, and again in front of Lewis Cook.
An excellent call by Bruce Lemmerman, because the Montreal Alouettes were coming with a full blitz up the middle as Wally Bowana will move in beside number 72, Carl Cornell, right there to come, trying to put the pressure on Lemmerman, but he releases quickly on that little out pattern by McGowan. Cook has to be concerned now about McGowan trying to do that out and up pattern. He had some success going against him short.
First down at the Montreal 18-yard line. No good, intended for Tyrone Walls. Tony Proudfoot very nearly picked it off. The score is Montreal 7, Edmonton 3. The 1975 Grey Cup continues in a moment.
It's a good time and you're happy. It's a good time for blue. It's a good time and you're happy. It's a good time for a blue. Time for smiling. Sailor Bats, blue, blue. Smiles along with you.
K-Tel takes you on a country road. A great new album, 20 original hits, original stars, Lynn Anderson,
Stay there till I get there. We'll work it out together.
Billy Walker,
I'd like to be in Charlie's shoes.
Tammy Wynette,
Standing by your bed.
and the fantastic Charlie Rich.
When we get behind closed doors.
Get Country Road, a super new album, $5.99 from K-Tel. Tape or cassette, $6.99. Available at all regular outlets.
Take another look right here, and we'll see a little action between Junior Ayew and Joe Warbeck. Warbeck coming over to get that little extra shot into the defensive end. Tempers are starting to flare a little bit, Pat, but they better not lose their poise, because penalties in this kind of a game can be so very vitally important.
We're down to the final 3 minutes of this third quarter. 2nd and 10, Edmonton at the Montreal 18. Tyrone Walls could not squeeze it at the 5-yard line. Right through his hands. He went high in the air, and on this cold afternoon, Bruce Lemmerman delivered the ball right on the money, but Walls couldn't squeeze it.
They're in that spread formation. Tyrone Walls, being split from his tight end position, got wide open in that hook area, but just couldn't hold on to the ball, and well thrown, as you pointed out. A lot of big plays that the Eskimos have had available, they just have not yet been able to click on.
The greatest field goal kicker in CFL history, Dave Cutler, comes out onto the field, and he'll try to make it a 7-6 ball game with an attempt from 25 yards away. It is good. And so with 2 minutes and 31 seconds left to play in the third quarter, Montreal's lead is cut to but 1 point. Montreal 7, Edmonton 6.
And we'll wait and see. It appears as if Marv Levy is electing to go from the 35-yard line as opposed to receiving that kickoff. Frank and Don commented on that happening, of course, in the first half. I have to question the coach's judgment on this. Certainly, he's concerned about the depth of Cutler's kicking with the wind at his back. At the same time, he has 2 of the most dangerous kickoff returners in the league, and he's not prepared to use them in this game.
He may in the fourth quarter if the opportunity presents itself. First down, Montreal at their 35. This is Larry Smith. Good play by Este. Nailed him back of the line of scrimmage. A loss will be at least a couple.
Ron Este having just an outstanding afternoon with the Edmonton Eskimos. It appeared that they had gotten wide to that side. Johnny Rogers, number 20, and Farragelli, 33, are leading the block, but Este, with that good inside-outside pursuit, prevents Smith from getting any gain.
And the Alouettes got a bit of a break because the ball was spotted just inside the 35, so really the loss was only about a half yard. 2nd and a long 10. Jones, under pressure, goes down at the 25. Bill Stevenson applying tremendous pressure along with Fred James. And as a result, it'll be 3rd and 20, and the Alouettes will be forced to give up the ball with 1 minute and 30 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter.
Well, the Eskimos hadn't been putting on great heat, but here you see a tremendous defensive rush by Fred James, number 74, initially getting to Jimmy Jones after he couldn't find an open receiver, and there seems to be a bit of a switch in momentum now to the Western club.
Pat Wade says the wind is fierce about 20 feet up. He wants to keep this a little lower if he can.
And strangely enough, he puts it fairly high. Highbaugh waits for it at midfield. No yards, flags go down. And so does Highbaugh at about the 53. The ball comes loose. Proudfoot picks it up, but obviously the whistle had blown. It's a 30-yard punt, but there will be the no yards penalty.
Well, of course, that's the problem with the short punts, Pat. As you know, your punt coverage team will get caught inside. It appeared to me to be both 57 Rudy Florio and 68 Tony Proudfoot that were caught inside that 5-yard restraining zone.
Tom Laputka is not going to be able to go back out right now. They're trying to put some padding on it. James will replace him, but Laputka has been using an ice pack to try and get that swelling down, and they're now wrapping his ankle.
Roy Bell, nowhere to go, and he goes down right at the line of scrimmage. Junior Ayu, who's having just another big game, upending him right at the line of scrimmage. And so it'll be 2nd and 10 Eskimos. The ball right on the Montreal 45-yard line. We're into the final minute of the 3rd quarter. Montreal 7, Edmonton 6. Bell has carried the ball 10 times for 21 yards today. Lemmerman going deep for Konahowski. No good. Lewis Cook went high in the air to bat the ball away from Konahowski. Again, the ball was well thrown by Lemmerman.
They've been putting Konahowski with McGowan most often, but here he's singled to that left side, just running that deep seam pattern. Lewis Cook does a fine job, who's in that deep outside coverage, coming back into the middle with him, and very nearly picking it off for another turnover.
Well, we're going to have a 52-yard field goal attempt by Dave Cutler as we see the training staff working on Tom Laputka. Tom Wilkinson will spot it at the 52, and if Cutler is good, he can put the Eskimos out in front for the first time in this game. It is good. On the final play of the 3rd quarter, Dave Cutler is good from 52 yards. And so the score is Edmonton 9, Montreal 7. The 1975 Grey Cup continues in a moment.
Greet someone with smile and cheer. Happy things you'll find up here, and new smiles along with you. Make it a time to be happy. Make it a time for a blue. Time for smiling. Say, look, that's blue. And blue smiles along with you.
Here at Johnny's Texaco, it gives us a lot of satisfaction to know we babied a car through 100,000 miles. Now, while we can't promise you the same, we can promise with regular oil changes, lube jobs, and Texaco's top quality products, you'll get more miles out of your car. The way we see it, if we treat your car right and we treat you right, you keep on coming back, right?
You're the star, yes you are. You're the star at Texaco. Woo!
Dave Cutler with a new Grey Cup record, 52 yards. He has accounted for all of Edmonton's points as the Eskimos grab a 9-7 lead, and Don Sweet has accounted for all the points for the Montreal Alouettes. And there you see the tribute to Dave Cutler.
Pat, we've seen a number of balls dropped and several fumbles in the 3rd quarter of play. We've also heard the reports from Don Chevrolet and Bill Stevenson about how the thermometer is dropping very quickly in this 4th quarter. If that continues to happen, we may see even more turnovers yet that will eventually determine the outcome of this game.
I'll tell you guys, it's not going up.
No, and it doesn't feel like it is either, Chevy. Let's see now if Cutler will put it deep to Johnny Rogers, Dickie Harris, or Lewis Cook. or will he try to squib it? This is the first opportunity that the Montreal Alouettes have had to put their kickoff return unit into play, because all the other times Cutler would have been kicking with the wind. And you see that they are having a few problems with the clock as they try to get it back now to 15 minutes, because that's what's left to play in this 1975 CFL season. Edmonton 9, Montreal 7, and those who forecasted it would be a low-scoring game must have known that the defenses would come up big this afternoon. Bruce Lemmerman talking it over with George McGowan, trying to get things organized so that when the Eskimos get back on the field, they'll have it all copacetic.
In terms of the Montreal Alouettes in this fourth quarter of play, now that they're at a disadvantage, they've only gone to Peter Delariva once in the course of 3 quarters. He, of course, was their leading receiver throughout the course of the regular season. We'll see whether or not Jimmy Jones or Sonny Wade, if he gets in, comes back to try to make better use of their tight end.
And, of course, the strategy changes now for both these clubs, because the Alouettes will be working with this 15-mile-an-hour wind. A little squib kickoff that Buono has to take because Wayne Mathern was coming down crashing on him. Buono fields the ball and is upended at the 48-yard line, so it was only a 28-yard kickoff, but there was no run back. However, excellent field position as Tom Wilkinson continues to warm up on the Edmonton sideline. We are just underway, and now referee Bill Fry has called time because he wants to get this clock situation in order.
Well, the reason the clock's having so much trouble is the fact that it's minus 10 Celsius, but on top of that, there's a 10-mile-an-hour wind, and the combination is putting it down to something like, as Don said earlier, in the 20s, minus 20 to 25 Celsius with the wind chill factor. I don't know what it works out to Fahrenheit, except that it's cold.
Well, Bill, we're very thankful for the heaters up here, and we can only say we're a little sorry for you down there.
Bruce Lemmerman looking on from the sidelines, and also on the sidelines is Tom Laputka, who was injured in the third quarter. Fred James is replacing him at defensive tackle. It is first down, Montreal at their 48. Jones swings it out to Smith. There's a flag down. And Smith is upended by Wayne Mathern after he had managed about 4 yards, but let's wait and see what referee Bill Fry's decision will be on that flag thrown in the Montreal offensive backfield. He's discussing it with Ron Este, so I think we can assume it's probably against Montreal and likely for holding. That's what it is. The Eskimos accept the penalty. It will be first down over again, 20 yards to go, back at the Montreal 38, and field position is very important.
Well, let's see if we can pick up that holding call. Ron Este was trying to put some pressure against Dan Yolcomb, who seemed to leave his hands on his sweater a little bit too long, and that could very well have been the reason why that flag was thrown.
First down, Alouettes. We are just underway in the final quarter of the 75 season. The draw to Johnny Rogers. He did a great job to get out to the 43-yard line because he was nailed behind the line of scrimmage. Dave Fennell exerting tremendous pressure, but Rogers was able to escape his grasp and pick up about 4 yards when it appeared he might lose about 5.
You have to almost redraw as a defensive lineman when you see number 20 remaining in that backfield. It's not usual that they're going to keep Johnny Rogers in only as a blocking back.
Rob McLaren and Dick Dupuis made the stop for Edmonton. It is 2nd and 16, Montreal. The swing goes to Larry Smith. And he's cut down by Wayne Mathern, who did a great job in the open field on the Montreal running back.
Well, Wayne Mathern has done that same kind of job several times now. We saw him at the end of the second quarter stop Smith for no gain. On the previous play, Smith got very little again. There seemed to be open running room, but it's the discipline of that defense to the left side. Dale Potter from the inside, Mathern as the inside safety moving up in that flat coverage, reacting to that swing pass and nullifying any gain.
Mike Fink at the bottom of your screen. Larry Highbaugh at the top, awaiting this punt from Sonny Wade. Highbaugh back at his 12-yard line. And finally runs out of room at the 23. Joe Petty was down quickly as he had that sideline sealed off. And the Eskimos, after that 50-yard punt by Sonny Wade and the 11-yard run back, will be starting inside their 25-yard line.
You know, we've talked so much about the punt return ability of Johnny Rogers. Larry Highbaugh, the Edmonton Eskimos, has an outstanding punt return average of just over 16 yards, so that you know he's a real threat.
Tom Wilkinson comes back in to run the Edmonton offense. He gave way in the third quarter to Bruce Lemmerman. Wilkie, who went all the way in the first half, is back at the controls for the Eskimos. Number 12. Roy Bell, good hold. Has the first down. Phil Price rides him down at the 49-yard line. What a run by Roy Bell. 24 yards to pick up.
Well, the Eskimos have not established any kind of a running threat until this point, but you see center Bob Howes doing a great job on Carl Cornell, and 60 Charlie Turner came over to seal him off. The middle opened up, and Roy Bell did a great deal of good running on his own with tremendous balance and strength.
The ball is spotted at the Edmonton 49. No good, intended for Bell. The ball slipped through his hands. Tony Proudfoot hit him the moment that it got there, and Bell appears shaken up on the play. 12 minutes and 14 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter, as Bain Norrie goes into the ball game in place of the injured Roy Bell, who is still down on the field right at the midfield marker. And again, it appears to be a leg injury.
Well, we can only hope for Eskimo fans and the benefit of this game, too, that such an outstanding performer like Roy Bell will not be out too long. It appears that they're just looking at that right leg area right now.
The score is Edmonton 9, Montreal 7, and the 1975 Grey Cup continues in a moment.
Labatt's 50. More people say it, more people enjoy it. It's Canada's most popular ale. You enjoy yourself, and you drink 50 because it's the beer you enjoy. It's just that simple. '50's a beer with a taste you like. You don't have to explain it, you just say it. 50. You can't say beer any better.
All you have to say is 50. You can't say beer any better.
Well, Pat, if Roy Bell cannot come back in the fourth quarter, it may be a bad loss for the Eskimos. So let's take another look at that play. Well, this is a 24-yard scamper just prior to his injury. That shows how important he is to the offense. It was the next pass play, however, where Roy Bell was the intended receiver. We don't have time to look at it right now, but Tony Proudfoot reacted up very quickly, and you could see how it was that the right knee was injured, and they're working on it there on the bench.
Second down, 10 yards to go from the Edmonton 49. Wilkie for Stu Lang, no good. Mike Finucci and Wally Bono putting the pressure on Tom Wilkinson, intending it for Stu Lang, but it was not there.
It appeared that Lang had a bit of an edge on the defender, but Wilkinson, because of the good pressure that was there, had to throw on the dead run. And, of course, when you're not planted, you don't have the same accuracy to your pass that you would hope for.
11 minutes and 53 seconds as Johnny Rogers, number 20, and Dickie Harris, number 18, in their respective senior years in college football south of the border, they led the nation in punt returns. Gary Lefebvre stands at his own 35-yard line on 3rd and 10 to punt for Edmonton. It hangs up. Rogers on the dead run at the 38 is surrounded and goes down. Bob Howes made the downfield tackle, number 53 for the Eskimos. It was a 24-yard punt and only a 1-yard return, which shows you that the Eskimos are covering their punts extremely well.
They're containing Rogers, who is so much of a threat, but again, it's the short punt game that allows the punt return team to give such excellent coverage to and doesn't allow the returner as much of an opportunity to set up his blocking.
First down, Montreal at the Alouette 38-yard line. Ferragelli. He's out over the 45 to the 46. The stop was made by Dan Kepley, the middle linebacker.
Well, again, it's Larry Smith, number 36, that right halfback, who does an excellent job on the lead block. We'll see him go against number 30, Dale Potter, to the outside, driving him back a good 4 to 5 yards and giving Ferragelli that running room.
The pickup by Ferragelli was 8 yards. They spotted at the 46, 2nd and 2, Montreal. Again, this is Ferragelli. Flags go down. He has the first down. He's all the way into the Eskimo 52-yard line.
And I would bet it's going to be a legal motion against left guard number 52, Ray Watrin of the Montreal Alouettes, Pat. I noticed a little movement just prior to the snap of the ball, and that first down pickup by Ferragelli is going to be taken away.
You're exactly right, Mike, and what a big penalty that is, because the Alouettes had picked up the first down, but now they will be 2nd and 7 yards to go. Let's go down to Bill Stevenson.
Well, I've got Mike Lambros with me, the injured outside linebacker. Mike, what do you think about the way this game's going?
Well, Bill, I think we're starting to loosen up a little bit. I think the first half we were pretty high and pretty tight, and I think now we're starting to settle down, play the game plan that we had devised for this occasion, and now things are starting to gel a little bit for us.
Do you think the momentum's going your way?
I think it's starting to, Bill. Even though now we're into a stiff win in the fourth quarter, I think things are starting to gel for us, yes.
Thank you very much, Mike Lambros.
The pass intended for Larry Smith was incomplete, and so on 3rd and 7, the Montreal Alouettes will be forced to punt.
I haven't yet seen Sonny Wade warming up on the sideline to throw the ball. I'm surprised that he hasn't been instructed to do so by Marv Levy, because Jimmy Jones has been pretty stultified in his play calling. He's coming continually back to that swing pass to Smith, and the Eskimos have started to corral him.
Highbaugh at his 20-yard line. Runs into Mike Widger right at the 30, and that's where the Eskimos will take over, and we have a little shoving match going on between number 60, Gary Chown, after that 48-yard punt and a 9-yard return. Tom Wilkinson will come back in at quarterback for the Eskimos with 9 minutes and 49 seconds left to play in regulation time, and the Eskimos lead it 9-7. First down, Edmonton. The ball is just inside their own 30-yard line. So now the pressure reverts to the Montreal Alouettes and their defensive unit. We're talking about Panucci, Judges, Weir, and Ayew, the front four. Guano, Grinnell, and Widger, the linebackers. Wilkie still has it, and is very close to the first down. Tony Proudfoot and Mike Panucci make the stop for the Alouettes, but it was a fine run by Wilkinson, who is shaken up on the play.
An excellent call by Wilkie, as he had his two backs in motion, Norrie and Harrell, as we'll see here, go to that left side. The line itself started to pull to that left as if that's where the action was going to go. The wide receivers were to the right, had run their deep routes, taking the secondary with them, opened up that alley for Tom Wilkinson in the gain, because Mike Panucci and everyone had reacted to that initial motion.
The word on Roy Bell is that it appears to be a torn ligament in the right knee, and so he's definitely out for the game and could be in line for an operation. That was the word of the Edmonton doctor.
Well, that is just the worst kind of news the Eskimos could receive, and of course the worst kind of news that Roy Bell will hear. And we certainly hope that that original diagnosis does not turn out to be factual. Wilkie was just short of that first down. It'll be second and about a half a yard to go for the first down. And Wilkinson remains in the ball game, although shaken up.
He's taking a long time to call a simple short yardage play. Don't be surprised if he fakes the run action.
9 minutes and 15 seconds left to play. Wilkie throws a good call, Mike, intended for Konahowski.
That Montreal secondary, of course, had moved up very tight on the play. You'll see here Carl Cornell and all of them are right in. Gene Gaines is right in behind that line of scrimmage. Konahowski certainly has a couple of steps on Phil Price. Had he been able to get a hold of that ball, it could have been 6 points.
Now it's third and less than a yard to go, and the Eskimos, of course, will be gambling, and this would be the biggest gamble of their 1975 season. Wilkinson keeps it, dives forward, and appears to have the first down. And it is signaled as such by referee Bill Fry. Eight minutes and 50 seconds left to play in the ball game. Edmonton leads it 9-7. We have not had a touchdown scored in the ball game. What a Grey Cup festival and a Grey Cup week it has been. First down, Eskimos at their 40-yard line. Calvin Harrell. Very little running room as he gets out to about the 43-yard line. Glenn Weir, 64, Carl Grinnell, and Mike Widger all pinching in to limit the advance by Calvin Harrell to about 2 or 3 yards. Let's credit him with a 3-yard pickup and make it 2nd and 7 Eskimos with 8 minutes left to play in the final quarter.
Well, the Alouettes have been tough to run against all afternoon, as you know, Pat, but without Bell being a threat in there, it's going to be just that much more difficult now on Harrell.
2nd and 7. Wilkinson is down back at the Eskimo 36-yard line, pinned by Mike Widger, 34. A big loss that will force the Eskimos into a punting situation.
Well, we'll see that great linebacking reaction by Mike Widger. He's lined up to the inside, then drops out with the roll of Wilkinson. Comes up on the play, and good work also from the inside by Glenn Weir, the defensive tackle, coming from the left side position. He's just had an outstanding afternoon.
So on 3rd and 13, Gary Lefebvre will be punting to Dickie Harris and Johnny Rogers, and Lefebvre will stand inside his own 25-yard line. 7 minutes, 23 seconds left to play in the ball game. 9-7 in favor of the Eskimos. Johnny Rogers at his own 50 squirts through the midfield and still on his feet. Finally down at the 51-yard line. Bob Howes made the stop, but a great return again by Johnny Rogers. The score is Edmonton 9, Montreal 7. The 1975 Grey Cup continues in a moment.
Philishave has undergone metamorphosis. Philishave has changed its overall shape to fit your hand better, to fit your face better. Philishave has doubled the number of cutting edges in its rotary heads to shave you faster, to shave you better. Philishave has changed. Not change for change's sake, but change for your sake. The new Philishave by Phillips.
That 25-yard punt by Lefebvre was returned 11 big yards by Johnny Rogers, and as a result, the Alouettes have a first down at the Edmonton 51-yard line with 7 minutes left to play in the ball game. Ferragelli. Oh, Kepley, the middle linebacker, was there quickly to nail him. Ferragelli managed to pick up 3 yards as the Alouettes will try to grind it out.
Well, Frank Rigney told you about this young man, Dan Kepley, and you'll see him do a great job here. He gets away from the block of Ray Watron right into the action and really gets a good hit on Ferragelli before he picks up about 2 or 3.
2nd and 7, Montreal. The ball at the Edmonton 48. They rule the reception is made at the 43-yard line. Skip Eamon making the catch for the Alouettes, who will be short by about 1.5 yards of that first down. Now, what does Coach Marv Levy elect to do?
Well, it would be a pretty lengthy field goal attempt, about almost 50 yards for Don Sweet. He hasn't been really good from that distance, Pat. He's got good accuracy inside the 40, but once he gets outside of that range, he's going to try to make those offensive linemen feel 8 feet tall and go for the big one.
It is 3rd down, 1.5 yards to go. Ferragelli leaps forward, but there was movement by that Montreal offense. Peter Dallariva appeared to get off the ball very quickly. Now let's wait and see, first of all, whether or not Ferragelli made the first down, and if he did not, the Eskimos, I'm sure, will decline the penalty and take over possession.
Little doubt of that, and I don't know. I'm not so certain that he would have made it. They did an excellent job of stacking up that left side of the line.
They bring the sticks out. 5 minutes and 43 seconds left to play in regulation time.
You know, actually, I didn't have a chance to point it out, Pat. There it shows. But on that pass completion that they had to set up that short third and short gamble, as we take another look at it here, tremendous penetration by the left side of that Eskimo defense, and Laverado does an excellent job of coming in behind. But Jimmy Jones had missed Peter Della Riva, who was wide open deep, and they have not been going to their tight end at all, only once in the course of this game.
The illegal procedure penalty is declined. It is first down, Edmonton at their 41.5-yard line with 5:33 left to play. McGowan has it at the 50, hit instantly by Dickie Harris. He'll be short of the first down.
Well, George McGowan continues to run those short out patterns against Dickie Harris. Harris is playing them well, but so long as the quarterback executes and throws the ball well and McGowan can hold on, there's so little you can do because Harris has that deep outside coverage, and if McGowan ever turns up, if he plays him too closely, then it's, of course, a big gainer. So he has to almost afford him those 8 to 10-yard bend-out patterns.
On 2nd and 1, Fred James goes in. Konahowski comes out. The give is to Calvin Harrell, who was cut down. There was tremendous penetration by Tony Proudfoot, and I do not believe that he managed that first down marker.
I believe they'll be a good yard short. Appeared that Fanucci and Judges had it well sealed off to the inside. Tony Proudfoot, the inside safety, had moved up in almost a linebacking position, no blocking on him, and he was in an excellent position to destroy that play.
Well, now, Ray Yark has a real problem. It's 3rd and 1. Does he try for the first down and maintain ball possession? Gary Lefebvre has not been punting well. I would almost think, without Roy Bell in there, that he still has to go for it.
Well, if consistency means anything, Pat, the same coach, Ray Yark, earlier in the first half, elected to punt when there was only about a half a yard to go. Certainly now he's got about that full yard, and it appears that he's sending in the kicking game.
With 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to play in the ball game, the Edmonton Eskimos, with a 3rd and 1, will be punting. They lead it 9-7.
And how large looms the gamble that the Alouettes took early in the third quarter, when with 3rd and 4 or 3rd and goal, they opted to go for it, and Johnny Rogers was forced out to that sideline area, and they came away dry because that would have been a point in favor of them right now. They could have had a lead 10-9.
Gary Lefebvre at his own 38 punts, and this is his best of the ball game. Dickie Harris back at his own 15. Just great downfield coverage by the Edmonton Eskimos. Pete Laverado, number 7, and Bob Howes were quickly downfield. That 45-yard punt was returned only 3 yards. And as a result, the Montreal Alouettes will start from deep in their own territory, and Sonny Wade has come in at quarterback with 3 minutes and 55 seconds left to play in the ball game.
He's been in 2 Grey Cups and has not lost one.
The give was to Ferraghelli, but the hole closed very quickly. The middle linebacker, Dan Kepley, was there to make the stop after Ferraghelli appeared to have some running room.
Well, again, it's so vitally important to have that kind of linebacking strength. It appeared that Fennell initially made the first hit on him, but Dan Kepley, in excellent position, had not been blocked at all, and he's putting up a great job of controlling the middle of that defensive line.
3 minutes and 15 seconds left to play in the game. 2nd and 9. Montreal at their 19-yard line. The swing pass to Smith. Nowhere to go. Ron Este making the big play. The loss will be 5 yards, and the Alouettes will have to punt with 3 minutes and 2 seconds left in the ball game.
Well, if Jimmy Jones had become mesmerized by that swing pass to Smith, it appears that Sonny Wade's following the same pattern.
Edmonton 9, Montreal 7, and the 1975 Grey Cup continues in a moment.
People who own a Philips Modular 4 color television watch the front. That's where the picture is with all the natural colors of the natural world. But these same people looked at the back of the Philips Modular 4 and they liked what they saw. The exclusive Modular 4 chassis design, a marvel of electronic craftsmanship and engineering skill. By isolating the vital components on 4 independent modules, Philips engineers developed a better way to make our color televisions more dependable and produce sharper pictures. The modules are stringently checked to ensure top quality and performance.
We give you outstanding quality control during construction so that you get superb performance after. Performance, dependability, top quality. With the Philips Modular 4, you can see the difference back and front.
Before you buy your color TV, see the Philips Modular 4 and see the quality front and back. Philips Modular 4, the better way to make color television.
Three minutes and 2 seconds left to play in the ball game. Edmonton 9, Montreal 7, and there is Larry Highbaugh standing back at his own 45-yard line. Sonny Wade stands at the Montreal 1 to punt. Highbaugh at his 48. Good return by Larry Highbaugh. Steve Ferrighelli forced him out at about the Montreal 40-yard line with 2:38 left to play. A 48-yard punt, but a sensational 23-yard return by Larry Highbaugh.
And let's see if we can get a little different look from our end zone camera as Highbaugh gets that high drifting ball that should have allowed ample time for the coverage team to get down, and they seem to have him boxed in. But he's got great speed and just manufactured that run almost entirely on his own.
It is first down Edmonton as Larry Highbaugh comes off the field. The Eskimos have it at the Montreal 39-yard line. 2 minutes, 38 seconds left to play. Fanucci with a big rush. Wilkinson throws no good for McGowan at the 35. Dickie Harris providing the defensive coverage.
Well, they seem to favor putting McGowan against Harris. He's been playing him very closely. On that particular instance, Harris finally was able to come up and knock it away. He's actually been playing a well-controlled game from his cornerback position, not allowing McGowan to get deep on him at all, but he has been threatened by that short pass. John Wilkinson also takes quite a shot after he gets rid of this ball. We'll see if we can pick it up right here as Mike Fanucci, number 71, is in hot pursuit. Seems to fall a little heavily to that ground, but he's still in the ball game, and he's not bothered by injury at this point.
2 minutes, 32 seconds left to play. Wilkinson has not completed a pass in this half. The ball at the Montreal 39. No good. At the Montreal 31-yard line, Stu Lang made a diving attempt. Wally Buono putting good pressure on the Edmonton quarterback to force a 3rd and 10 situation with 2 minutes and 25 seconds left to play in regulation time. And Dave Cutler, who has accounted for all of Edmonton's 9 points, will try this one against the wind from 46 yards. And if he is successful, that will give the Eskimos a 5-point advantage. If he gets the single, it would narrow the possibilities of ending this season in regulation time, because then the difference would be but a field goal.
Well, he had one earlier in this game for 52 yards, but that was with the wind in his back. He's got a considerably more difficult task.
He's aiming it for the sideline. He was not trying the field goal. Actually, he wanted to kick that single point, but the ball went out of bounds up around the 20-yard line. So rather than punt the ball, because Gary Lefebvre has not had a particularly good afternoon, Coach Ray Yawk elected to have Cutler kick for the touchline. He did, but it only went 16 yards. 2 minutes, 20 seconds left to play. Montreal first down at the Alouette 23-yard line. Sonny Wade will be putting it in the air. Larry Smith, first down. All the way to the 49-yard line, Larry Highbaugh made the tackle for the Eskimos, but what a big play for the Owls.
And I'll tell you, in this return, by Larry Smith. You'll see Peter Della come and put a crushing block on Dan Kepley, number 42. There's a little check off the delay to Larry Smith. I don't know that we'll see it. Apparently we aren't going to pick it up, but there was just a tremendous block in the middle linebacker that allowed Larry Smith to pick up that extra running room.
A minute 59 left in the ball game. First down Montreal at their 49. Sonny Wade going deep for Joe Petty. He's got it at the 15-yard line. The saving tackle by Mike Fink, but what a play for the Alouettes. A minute and 45 left in the ball game. 46 yards. The pass completion, Wade to Joe Petty.
Well, it appeared they're playing an inverted zone on that side with Wayne Mathern, the inside safety, having the shallow flat, Mike Fink the outside. How much that fake reverse had to play on Joe Petty getting so wide open, we don't know, but he had that entire sideline.
A minute and 40 seconds left to play in the ball game. Edmonton 9, Montreal 7. Montreal first down at the Edmonton 15-yard line. Faragelli for a couple into about the 13. Tackled by the entire center of that Edmonton secondary. Dan Kepley, Dave Fennell, Tom Laputka, who's back in the ball game.
I don't have to tell you that there's great frustration and a little shock on this Edmonton bench right now. They thought they had the game under control, and now they can see it slipping them from their grasp. You can hear them yelling in the background for that defense to hold.
Second down, 7 yards to go. The ball is spotted at the 12-yard line. A minute, 10 seconds left to play in the ball game. Edmonton 9, Montreal 7. Johnny Rogers into the 10-yard line. He was turned in by Rob McLaren. Ron Este made the stop along with Dan Kepley. And that's the story. A minute and 2 seconds, and the pressure will now be on Don Sweet, who will try the field goal to give the Montreal Alouettes the lead.
In fact, you might wonder why it is Sonny Wade with 2nd and 7 wouldn't have opted to go for the pass and the major score as opposed to just settling for a field goal. But obviously they're concerned about the running of that clock as well. It's now under 1 minute, and they feel that Don Sweet has got good record of accuracy from this distance of 19 yards.
He scored all the Montreal points to this point. And it is no good. No good. 1 point only.
And I'll tell you, Pat, there was a bad hold on that. That wasn't entirely Don Sweet's fault. On the snapback, it appeared that Jones just did not get a good hold of the ball itself. And as a result, it was not properly set up for the kick. There you saw him fumbling with it, and that undoubtedly affected Sweet's timing.
The score is Edmonton 9, Montreal 8, and a very frustrated Marv Levy, standing on the Montreal sideline, cannot believe it. The pass from center was good. Jimmy Jones had trouble handling it. As a result, Don Sweet was not able to put it through, and the Eskimos have only 45 seconds to run the clock. Bruce Lemmerman is in at quarterback. He's turned in by Gene Gaines at the 32-yard line with 40 seconds left to play.
This Edmonton bench is going wild now from frustration and abject sorrow when they thought they were out of it, and the Alouettes were in a position to win it with that field goal. They've now been hopping up and down, slapping each other in the back. They can hardly contain their joy. The Eskimos think that now they've got it with, as you pointed out, 38 seconds left to go. And so it appears the Alouettes are going to have to try and steal that ball. And it's all yours, Pat.
Second down, 13 yards to go, 27 seconds left on the clock. Tom Wilkinson is in at quarterback now, replacing Lemmerman. Wilkinson is down with 17 seconds left. And that will be enough because the Eskimos will be able to kill the clock. They'll take all the time in the huddle. Bruce Lemmerman will come onto the field now to replace Tom Wilkinson. And the Eskimos will be able to run the clock as Larry Highbaugh now comes out onto the field.
I think that Bruce Lemmerman and Tom Wilkinson are now talking with the officials to try to make certain that the 17 seconds on the clock is official, so they'll be able to just run it out. Third down, of course, if that clock is not official, and it could be more than the allotted time in the huddle, then they might have to put the ball in the air yet by virtue of a punt I'm talking about, of course.
Bill Fry is coming over to talk to Ray Yock, and he's moving Yock and the Edmonton bench back because, of course, in the excitement, they were almost down at the point of scrimmage. Well, we've got 17 seconds. Referee Bill Fry is over at the timer's bench to verify that, in fact, there is but 17 seconds left to play.
Well, Tommy Wilkinson went running back out on the field clapping his hands so that you know it's got to be under that 20 seconds.
The clock will begin the moment referee Fry moves away from the ball, and he whistles time in so the clock starts. Wilkinson will just watch it run down. Then he'll go to the line of scrimmage and fall down with it, and the Eskimos will win it. The Edmonton Eskimos are the 1975 Grey Cup champions. The ball game is over. What a game. What a defensive performance by both these clubs, and what tremendous drama.